Mike McCool here in the Royal Examiner Studio. We have a group of people with us here today. What we're going to do, we're going to celebrate the life of Margaret Lucille King. How old was Margaret?
99.
99, she almost made it to 100. And a lot of people in our community know her. Her funeral will be on the 21st, that's Wednesday, next week. So we want to kind of just remember her during this, and this group come in, and they want to tell some stories and how they affected her life. So we'll do it. Who wants to start?
We'll start with
You start in the middle. You
Thanks.
Exactly.
Well, I just want to take a moment out to just remember the greatest person that in my life has, like, walked the earth. Miss King was definitely an impact on all of us. She taught us how to cook, clean, be entrepreneurs, how to budget money at probably the age 5, 6. We were going grocery shopping and how to budget, making grocery lists and coming back to the house to do all these things. But the biggest thing for me is at 2 years old, my dad passed away. And my mom definitely had a hard time, coping with, having a husband and a partner for, I guess, close to 20 years to having, just herself and 5 girls. She just took the lead and made sure that we were taken care of and practically raised 5 girls, hands down with no questions, and made sure that we were fed. We had money in our pocket if we needed lunch money. And she just marked my heart for life. Like, I will never forget everything she's done for me. She's definitely going to be missed in this community, but missed by all those that she's impacted.
Good stuff.
Oh, me?
Sure.
Miss King was our babysitter. I got to meet a lot of my cousins that I otherwise probably would not have gotten to hang out with a lot, like Danielle and Tammy and Devin. And we had a blast. And Miss King's house was a safe place before we knew we needed safe places, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of us had things going on, whether it was at home or at school. But being there, you were a kid. And you did kid things, and you played until the street lights came on. And for us, it was really a safe space for us. And I didn't want to cry, and I'm sorry.
Okay.
But that's the kind of impact that she had, and she always encouraged us to get our education, to go as far as you could, and not to let anybody tell you that you couldn't do anything. When I campaigned, she supported that at 100%. Just throughout my life, and she's been a blessing to absolutely everybody. When I tell you she worked miracles. She knew everything that was happening outside of that house without ever leaving that house. And I always thought that she was the smartest person in the world because she would sit down and do her crossword puzzle in ink to completion. And so I admired her intelligence and just everything that she brought to the community and how many lives that she was able to touch and not even really leave her home. And she's a true blessing to the community, and she will be missed.
Miss King was a matriarch in her family to all of us and to the entire Black community here in this area. She not only raised us, but she impacted even generations to come after us, even our children. And her cooking was like no other. She put her foot in pretty much pancakes. Nobody could even touch those. I will never forget all that she's done for me, my sisters, and all of our family and the entire community. And she will always be loved and always be missed.
Good stuff. Jay, you want to go?
Yeah, I go all the way back to when her kids grew up. She raised 5 kids by herself with nothing. And she babysitted, but when she babysitted, it wasn't about the money. It was about the relationship that she had with those kids. And the reason why these people have a good heart is because of her. On a daily basis, you saw how giving she was. When they say you give your shirt off your back, she would. The house stayed full. I'm 12 or 13, and me and her son Keith, they called me his shadow because I never left him. I was over there every day. And we played and everything. We would go play basketball. It was right behind the house. and we would come back, and you're talking about 6 or 8 guys, and we would pile up the house. And, we would come back in there, and she never turned not one soul away. And if you wanted something to eat, you could get something to eat. And you imagine the house full of kids. This is all the time. And when these people were up there, it could be 10 people in the house. And we would sit and play and talk and have fun. And she just nurtured people and just gave them so much love and understanding. And you saw it on a daily basis. And she would work. I would work for her. She would bring in the wood, you know what I mean? She would bring in wood, and then she would get, do things that a man would have to do. Yeah. But she would do it herself. And take it a step further. When I wasn't doing right and I did something wrong, and I had to come back and look at her. And
that was harder.
That was harder. And she told me one time, and this is later on in life when I made a blunder, and she told me, she said, Jerry, you're better than that. And that thing tore me up. I had to go outside. And she just understood everybody. And she never really got down on you, but she told you what was right. And just the influence that she had, you wanted to make her proud. You didn't want to disappoint her. You know what I mean? And just the best person, best soul I ever seen in my whole life. Just the best giving person you ever could find. And, I could go on and on, but
Amen.
That's what's up.
She's the best I ever seen.
Wow.
The way she carried herself. I mean, nobody can top this. This will not be replaced.
Ever.
That's all I can say.
Yeah,
Ever.
definitely.
Well, I'm just going to piggyback off of all this great stuff they said already. Miss King was pretty much like, and I know this is cliche, but it takes a village to raise a family. Miss King was our queen of our village, to be honest with you. She was a blessing to not only us kids, she blessed my mom and dad to be able to go out to work and to be able to raise our, me and my sister, because we got to pay our bills. So for my mom and dad and for their parents and everybody's parents to be able to say, here, Miss King, here's my baby. None of our parents had any worries when they dropped us at Miss King's house, to be honest with you. It was just a great place to be. As a young fella, you know what I'm saying? Like when Jerry and all the sons would come up there, because the girls had us outnumbered most of the time anyway, Thank God Tyson and Chad Brooks would be there with us so we could hang out a little bit. But it was just a big family. We had good times, man. Just like they were saying, showed us how to be entrepreneurs by lemonade stands at the age of 4 and 5, you know what I'm saying? It made us, she showed us how to respect everybody and just also respect ourselves. You know what I'm saying? She always, she showed us also too, don't let nobody, make people respect you too, because of going out and getting your education or just the character that you have, and just show that character every day you step outside in the world. And I'm a culinary, and it wouldn't be true if I couldn't talk about one thing about Miss King. And Tammy talked about the pancakes. She was a master chef because she had to cook for everybody. You know what I'm saying? And she had to make. And the thing about Miss King too, she can make everybody happy when it came to feeding people too. And in my game, and I've been doing this game for a long time, you can't make everybody happy. But in that household, yo, we were happy, weren't we? We were happy. We ain't go hungry one day. And the thing that I truly respect back to, and I teach my kids in classes all the time, because the youth, we understand the youth are technical kids right now, and they don't know, you know what I'm saying? I always talk about, I'm old school, so I talk about back in the day. But Miss King, as Jerry would say, to fix us breakfast, she would go out and get that wood, put it in that wood stove. It wasn't no flicking no switch. And this would be like 20 degrees outside. Chunking that wood in that wood stove, throwing those magical scrambled eggs and pancakes for breakfast, man, it was heaven. It was heaven, and it nourished your body. And it was good to the soul. It was straight good to the soul. That allowed us to go in the room and watch Electric Company and Sesame Street and to learn and be educated. And she sit with us with flashcards and would give us little math quizzes and stuff to get us ready for this world we live in today. So I thank you, Miss King, all day.
You got to realize the generation before you that came along and the children she did before you even were aware of it, because in 100 years, she touched a lot of lives. Amen. Over 100 years. Amen. And she's seen a lot. You think about it, she's born in the 20s, and a lot has happened. I know my wife's grandparents were born like 1890, and I thought, and they got on an airplane and just jumped and flew around the world like it was nothing.
Yeah.
And yet they grew up when they wring that chicken's neck and plucked it themselves and put the wood in.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a whole nother
Yeah.
time in life.
Definitely.
But we don't realize what our ancestors have done for us in our community, and it's so important, and we're missing that today. And hopefully that Miss King will impact your lives enough that you can pay it forward. And I think that's something that we don't realize. And I've known a person just like Miss King, and 30 years later I realized what that person had done when I was a teenager. You just didn't really think about it at the time, but now we look back, right?
Yeah.
And we realize it. And I think all of us have someone, we have a Miss King somewhere in our
Yeah.
lives. And I think we need to appreciate them and really and realize the blessing that God has given a person like that to us.
Amen.
She
Yes.
loved Christmas.
Yes, Christmas is awesome.
She going all out?
Yeah, no.
Everybody got something.
Everybody got something. You could take a person that didn't have much, but when Christmas came, she made sure that her family would go get this one, go get this one,
That's
go
so true.
get this.
We
She
would.
would do everything for
Yeah.
people.
Like, we went out one year to Leesburg, and it was like probably September. I'm like, Miss King, why are we
Yeah.
shopping so early?
She
She was
loved
like, well, I got to
Christmas.
make sure I get everybody something.
Yeah.
And I'm
She had
like,
a list.
Yeah.
she had a list, and
Mrs.
you know, like
Claus.
Tasha said before,
I'm gonna
Miss
tell you.
King didn't leave the house for, I mean, until I was like 28
Right.
years old.
Yeah.
Her son ended up passing away.
Yeah.
And I always say Kevin gave her wings to live,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
once she got out of the
Yeah.
house, she actually lived these last years to the fullest. Like, she went on a cruise, she's been on airplanes.
She lived her
I
best
mean,
life.
she's been
Yeah.
everywhere.
She got
And
to do
She
stuff that she
deserved
never
all
did.
that, man.
and
she
all
know.
that. And even like I was telling Jerry yesterday, every year we would have an adult Easter egg hunt, and Miss King would just sit back and just watch everybody run through the yard.
That's
I
her
mean,
joy,
it could run
yeah.
from it being like a teenager at 13 to like everybody being in their 70s, 80s running around the yard. And she would just be like, one day she was like, Danny, just look over there. And she was like, pick this one. I ended up finding the egg, but she was trying to lead me to the golden prize, and I ended up picking the wrong one. She was like, I was trying to tell you. And it was like $150, but like everything.
Sounded like you were her favorite.
One of
One of the favorites. She was like,
Everyone was favorite.
I just
we all got loved equally and blessed equally. It was never like any like everybody. There was one or other. It was just like, I went to Miss King's and I, you know, and she sat down and she fixed me some food, or she did this. Like, I couldn't. I mean, even when we moved away, like if we needed a place to stay, we knew after whatever party we were partying at, 2:00 in the morning, we could knock at that door and have a
Yeah,
place to
yep.
stay.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna miss like everything she.
She would say what?
She stood for.
She's like, come in, honey.
Yeah.
Come on in, honey.
One of the
She
last
probably
things she
never
did, I gotta say this, one of the last things she did is that she did it every year. She would go around about, I think it's Memorial Day or whatever it is. She would go around my brother's grave, my dad's grave, and she would go get her son Kenny to ride around, and she would put flyers on everybody, her kids. And you don't see that, and you don't see that. And she made sure she was gonna get out that house
Yeah.
to, do that. So, and I called and thanked her. And
Well, let's take this as an example that all of us need to do in our lives. Is let's all be a Miss King and share what we know with our kids and our neighbor kids and work that village, so to speak. Yeah,
Yes.
it's great. Well, I appreciate you all coming in.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's Margaret Lucille King, 99 years old, and her funeral will be on the 21st. So check it out. We'll put all the details here in the story, and hopefully the community will come out and celebrate her life, as you did.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.